Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsey Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face.
So there is solid bulletproof evidence of those bruising marks, scratches, things that were provided to their team from day one.
So it was a very brutal attack in which you were very bruised, but we couldn't see the bruises because of the lighting.
She should go to prison for this. This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com, TatumStore.com. Get the merch link in the description section. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not into the whole baseball. I normally don't post videos about sports and different things like this, but this Trevor Bauer and Lindsey Hill situation got me feeling some type of way. Because I just was scrolling through TikTok and I said, what is this about? Because here's another woman lying about a man, accusing him of doing some sexual deviancy to her, and it being a complete lie. A woman ruining a man's career by lying about abuse, sexual abuse, brutality, whatever it is, and causing this man to lose everything. And then eventually it comes out that he was innocent and nothing happens to the woman. These situations just boils my blood. So let me just give you a brief synopsis. So it appears that your boy, Trevor Bauer, you know, he freaky deaky, you know what I'm saying? He got these women, he got them bent up in the bedroom and they like it rough. I don't understand it. I'm not involved in it, but I guess that's what he do. So this man, and this is why I argue for men to not be involved with these women until you get married. This man decided to go with this chick and link up with her. Now, behind the scenes, unbeknownst to him, she's plotting. She's on the phone, allegedly, on the text message to friends about how to get his money, what his net worth is, and how she need him to choke her and do other stuff to her so she can get him for all his money. So unbeknownst to him, he had sex with her. Phone call is released to verify what I'm about to tell you. A phone call is released because she secretly, after their rough encounter, she secretly recorded him in front of the police to get him to admit to these things. This woman didn't have all of this scripted. So allegedly, they are doing the thing, and she's telling him, slap me, hit me. And he's like, you good? You good? You want me to do it rougher? You like, you keep telling me to do it. Are you sure? And so she then coerced him into putting his hands on her during sex, which is the agreement that they had. And then after, she wanted to tape record him in front of the police to get him to admit to something. It didn't work because I guess Trevor Bauer was probably smarter than that. And he literally made her look stupid because all of this was an agreed upon sexual thing. And she wanted to aggravate it in order for her to be a victim and get money from the boy. So long story short, they ended up suing each other. Nothing came of it. Trevor Bauer came out in a statement saying that he dropped the charges against her. She dropped charges against him, but they can publicly talk about what they know as information. And he came out and made a video showing all of this stuff.
Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. A text Lindsey Hill sent to a friend before she ever even met me. What should I steal? She asked another, in reference to visiting my house for the first time. The answer? Take his money. So how might that work? I'm going to his house Wednesday, she said. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. Then, after the first time we met, net worth is 51 mil, she said. Bitch, you better secure the bag, was the response. But how is she going to do that? Need daddy to choke me out, she said. Being an absolute whore to try to get in on his 51 million, read another text. Then, after the second time we met, former Padres pitcher Jacob Nix told her, you got to get this bag. I'll give you 50,000, Lindsey replied. Her AA sponsor asked her at one point, do you feel a tiny bit guilty? Not really, she replied. Since then, her legal team has approached me multiple times about coming to a financial settlement. But as I have done since day one, I refuse to pay her even a single cent. In August of 2021, Lindsey Hill's claims were heard in court. And during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team. Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsey Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face. I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th and why the video was originally concealed from us. After hearing the evidence available to her, Judge Diana Gold-Saltman found that Lindsey Hill had misled the court. She found her claims to be materially misleading. She denied her request for a domestic violence restraining order, and she found that no sexual assault or non-consensual conduct took place. Now, some of you might not know about restraining order hearings. I know I didn't, but I've since learned that it's extremely rare for a request for a restraining order to be denied because the standard of proof that you need to obtain one is extremely low. So you can make of that what you will. The fact is, I was never arrested. I was never charged with a crime, and I won the only legal proceeding that took place without my side of the story even being heard. And most importantly, as I've said from day one, I never sexually assaulted Lindsey Hill, or anyone else for that matter. So I sued her, which prompted her to countersue me. Quite frankly, regardless of the outcome in court, I've paid significantly more in legal fees than Lindsey Hill could ever pay me in her entire life. And I knew that would be the case going in. But the lawsuit was never about the money for me. It was the only way for me to obtain critical information to clear my name. The discovery process in that lawsuit recently concluded, at which point Lindsey Hill's legal team again came to us with another proposal to resolve the case. This time, however, they weren't seeking any money from me. Having received much of the information that had been hidden from us, a small portion of which I've referenced here, I was willing to agree to the terms proposed. Both parties would drop their respective lawsuits, and neither of us would pay either side any money. I also retained my right to speak publicly about the case, something I have not been at liberty to do since June of 2021. So, as of today, both lawsuits have been settled. Now, over the last 2 years, I've been forced to defend my integrity and my reputation in a very public setting. But hopefully this is the last time I have to do so, as I'd prefer to just remain focused on doing my job, winning baseball games and entertaining fans around the world. So today, I'm happy to be moving on with my life.
The video phone call was released showing that she was trying to set him up this entire time. That man got suspended from baseball. I think he won, I forget the name of the award. He won the highest award you can win in MLB. The dude got suspended for 2 years initially. 2 years. I mean, this dude got a 3-year, $100 million contract. He got suspended for 2 years. He ended up getting kicked out of the MLB. And this woman is, I don't know what's happened to her. She should go to prison. I honestly believe women who make false claims against men in the sexual realm should go to prison for the same amount of time that he would have gotten if he had actually done what she claimed. I'm not talking about a person who can't prove it. I'm talking about a person who premeditated an entire lie to create a fake scenario to ruin that man's life and take his money. And then, of course, she claimed that it was out of context or something like that. There ain't no context for you saying, how can I get him for his money? Worth $50 million. I need him to choke me. It's sad, bro.
So you said in court that he sexually assaulted you on 2 different encounters. And you say the first time that you say he choked you unconscious. Clearly, the insinuation is you didn't like it because now you're calling it an assault. But why did you make the drive back to L.A. to meet back up with him a second time if this man had just assaulted you by your own account?
I think that's a really good question. How I phrased it and how I in the past is that I was so embarrassed by the first encounter that I felt something, deep in me to go and take the power back and to be better and to be what he wanted in a sense. And so I don't know. There's been a lot of, through all the processes, witness experts on the psychology of what happens when you are assaulted, XYZ. But there was something in me that felt like I needed to make it better in a sense. Okay.
But you texted Trevor before you met him, telling him you liked rough sex. Then you texted him after your first sexual encounter with him, which you now call an assault. And according to court records, you told him after that sexual encounter that you had, quote, never been more turned on in your life. That's not really something that someone says when they were just assaulted.
I think it's a super valid question. Everything you're asking me is a super valid question.
I agree. That's why I'm asking them.
Totally. And I think that I'm not, that's what expert witnesses are for in court in terms of the psychology behind that and responses to abuse and things like that. But like I said, I was just trying to make myself feel better about myself after what had happened the first time. After the first time I left without any markings on my body, my face was fine. I could go to work. And I thought that the second time, would be like the first time minus the things I told him I was not comfortable with.
Yeah, so you mentioned the markings on your body. I want to play a portion of his video in which he plays I would say, interesting video of you in his bed. Watch.
In August of 2021, Lindsey Hill's claims were heard in court. And during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team. Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsey Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face. I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th and why the video was originally concealed from us.
Lindsey, I think there are a lot of sexual assault survivors who would say you don't look traumatized there and you don't look beaten. And this is allegedly after you say that he brutally attacked you and you had bruises all over your body. You had bruises all over your face. I don't see any bruises there. And I certainly don't see a woman who's just been traumatized by something horrible.
Again, super valid. I think that I woke up that morning and the best way to explain that video is I hadn't seen my entire body yet. I had no idea what had happened considering, I was unconscious for most of it. I had no idea what had happened to my full body.
But if it was that severe, wouldn't you already feel pain? Wouldn't you already have bruises on your face? I mean, you say that he punched you in the face, but where are the bruises?
Yeah, so that's something that has not, been publicly released or he won't talk about. But over and over again in this process, we have handed him pictures that were taken between 20 and 30 minutes right after that video was taken of the bruising starting to develop, of the scratching. And it has been time and time again verified through metadata. It was a matter of being in the correct lighting, the spacing to take the right thing. And another difference is, iPhone camera versus a Snapchat recording and things like that. So there is solid bulletproof evidence of those bruising marks, scratches, things that were provided to their team from day one.
So it was a very brutal attack in which you were very bruised, but we couldn't see the bruises because of the lighting.
And I'm going to tell y'all the truth, and I know the truth is going to hurt. When I was a police officer, 98% of the sexual assault, rape accusations were all fake. They were all fake. They were all fake. Two things are troubling in our society. One is that women who really get abused don't say anything. The second is that a bunch of women who do say something, they're lying about it. And I know it's not just me. Put it in the comment section, you're a police officer or you're a former police officer. That you've had the experience where you go to these calls, you take the calls, and majority of these people just make up stuff. Just made up a fake scenario. They didn't want their mama to know that they had sex and they could potentially be pregnant. So they say they got raped so they can go get the plan B and they can get the plan B and they can get an STD check. Or mama found out and they say I got raped. Or boyfriend caught them cheating and they say I got raped. I had one situation, I wasn't on the call, but I heard about the call. I heard it on the radio initially, but then the guys had told me what transpired. So it was a girl, her boyfriend left. She climbed onto the second floor because they lived in a guest house. She climbed onto the roof, into the dude's bedroom. She's cheating with the guy. Boyfriend comes and catches her and she's screaming, he's raping me, he's raping me, he's raping me. So the boyfriend gets a knife and go to stab the guy. Guy put his hand up, cut his finger off. Just cut the finger off, finger then hit the floor. And, initially she said that. We arrest the guy. When I say we, meaning the police department. And after interviewing her further, she ended up admitting that, no, I'm sorry, I lied. I was cheating, and this is how I climbed up the roof or whatever. And I was cheating, and he caught me, and I was embarrassed, so I just told him that I was getting raped. So now she did lie to the police. She cheated on her boyfriend, and she got the lover's finger cut off in that whole process. And this is not the first time. There's only 2 cases in the entire time I was a police officer that was real sexual assault, and one was a real rape case. And one was a young lady who was a crackhead. She was a meth head. I mean, cracked out, got sores all over her face. And I ain't gonna lie, I didn't even believe it at first. But me believing it ain't got nothing to do with the facts and circumstances. So I continued my investigation. But I was like, oh man, this is probably a waste of my time. And, you know, long story short, we were trained to observe symptoms of somebody who's been through trauma, and she exhibited every single symptom that there was. And, you know, also she had made mention that he had a knife and he stabbed her, and she had hole marks in the bottom of her shoe. She said that he had sliced up a luggage bag, and you see the bag is all sliced up. So we ended up catching that fool. He went to prison for a very long time. That one, and there was another woman whom she almost T-boned me in the intersection. I pulled over and gave her a lecture, and she ended up getting sexually assaulted by a dude that worked for the government. And the weird thing is she remembered me from that traffic stop. So when she got sexually assaulted on the other side of the town, where I didn't work, she called the police department and said, I only feel safe talking to that officer that pulled me over the other day. I only feel safe talking to Officer Tatum. So she drove all the way to my jurisdiction in order for me to take the police report. And it was a real case. The dude really groped her. I mean, we got DNA, we got fingerprints. The fool was stupid enough to have her as an Uber with his real account. The fool had his real Uber account where he ordered the Uber. She drove him to his house, his real house where he lived. And so, of course, we do our magic and we figure out who this person is. And he did actually work for the city. He originally lied and said he was a Tucson police officer. And I was like, bro, this is getting dangerous. And he had like a badge, and he kind of flashed her with the badge. But the badge was because he worked for the government, like some utility company with the government or something. And that was the only 2 cases that was like legit. The rest of them were all lies. They were all lies, all completely made up, fabricated things. And it's sad, man, but I think women should be held accountable. And men, whoever, man, you lie about somebody raping. And I always tell the story about my homeboy in college, but I don't have time to tell the full story. And my homeboy, JT Turner, you know, it's crazy. I'm gonna leave it alone. But JT, some soccer chick said he did it to her. He lost everything. Everybody knew she was a 304. She didn't ran through half of the team, and nobody believed that he would even have to do it because she just run through people like that. Ended up lying. People ended up testifying against her. There were her teammates and other people that knew everybody. She had multiple dudes' DNA in her whenever they took the test. That's from the same night. And when he was acquitted, meaning that he was found not guilty, he didn't do anything wrong, they put the picture on the back side of the back bottom of the newspaper that he was acquitted. He was innocent. And when they first charged the boy, his face was on the front of the page. They kicked him out of school, and he was off the football team. And where's she today? Probably sleeping with some dude that she don't know. Anyway, I see y'all in the next one, man. I'm out.